together, and everybody give a big round of applause for Peter Terrace.
Thank you, Christine, and I know you will do an amazing job. I wouldn't have asked you otherwise. So, good evening again. My name is Peter Terrace, and my hope is to improve the lives of all the citizens of Fort Erie by becoming the mayor of this great town. Now, politics is about making life better for the people, but also it's about safeguarding their rights and human dignity. We have seen what weak leadership does. It divides people, it creates hate, it creates anger. But real leadership, good leadership, it unites people, it builds hope, and it creates unity. We are not the sum of our failings, of our fears, and of all our mistakes. But rather, we should be the sum of our courage, the amount that we care for our community, and the amount of charity we have for one another. And thank you. And I believe that service is how we can build a great town. Service to each other. Now, John F. Kennedy, when trying to embolden his citizenry, he remarked, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Now, if we adapt his words for our day and for our time, we will know that he was telling us that the people are the essence of what is government. As mayor, I will be fiscally responsible. I know that every dollar spent by public officials is a dollar of your money. My intention will never be to spend more. It will always be to find ways to make government smaller and be less intrusive into the lives of the citizens. As mayor, I intend to create the conditions for human flourishing and then get out of the way so that people can thrive and they can follow their dreams and their passions. You don't need government's help in order to do what you already know what you should be doing. And, all of us at one point or another, knowingly or not, has believed that we know what is right for everyone else. But the one thing that protects all of us from one person or one group forcing on us what they think is best for us is freedom to choose. We all need to have that ability to choose for ourselves what is right for us. I intend to be the mayor for all the people. The ones who agree with me, but the ones who also disagree with me. I will be open with all people. I will try to always have a respectful dialogue, especially with the people who disagree with me. Now, unfortunately, many people have been conditioned to believe that they work for government. But I'm here to remind all the citizens of Fort Erie, but especially all of you here that are with me today, that our politicians work for us. As your mayor, I will protect your rights and your freedoms. Our charter and our Bill of Rights outline very clearly our rights and responsibilities of all the citizens. Now, when our local government ignores these most fundamental facts that define us as Canadians, and they choose to ignore it, they have failed at their responsibility. When they don't live up to the Charter and the Bill of Rights, they are not doing their job. Thank you. Now, it's not the job of government to tell me who's supposed to be in my house or what I should be wearing or what I should be putting in my body. It is the job of government to protect my rights and your rights so that we can continue making those decisions for ourselves. And Thank you. Yes. Now, Thomas Jefferson eloquently stated that when the people fear their government, there is tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there is liberty. We need to bring that pendulum back to liberty. Now, we also know that oppression by government of the people happens in two ways. It happens by overtaxation, and it happens through over-regulation. At the municipal level, this overreach manifests itself through irrational and excessive bylaw enforcement. More mandates, more bylaws, more restrictions. This does not build a society that is more compassionate, more charitable, and more caring. As mayor, I will not support the use of bylaw officers to violate the rights of our citizens. Thank you. And as mayor, I will also have responsibilities over public health. This arm of our local government has always acted in an advisory role. Yet, over our recent history, our elected government officials have allowed medical bureaucrats to act as de facto legislators. The arrogance of our public health bureaucrats telling us what we should do, what we should wear, this needs to end. As mayor, I will fight to make sure that public health remains as an advisory role. Now, just a few facts here. According to McMaster's Children's Hospital, in 2021, the number of suicide attempts by young girls was up 51% over 2019. There are residents of Fort Erie that do not have access to basic health care. Now, we were promised at the beginning of our pandemic, don't worry guys, we're going to close the restaurants, we'll shut down a few businesses, just small businesses, and everything will be back to normal. Our hospitals will be running at full capacity. Don't worry, once we fire the unvaccinated people, once we cancel all funerals and weddings, don't worry, that'll save our hospital. Wait, we have to mask children. We got to close the schools, and then we got to end travel. And this will save our healthcare system. Our emergency room in Fort Erie was downgraded to an urgent care and has been under constant threat of closure. Our hospital is far worse off now than it ever was in the past. As mayor, I would lobby the provincial government to never bring back these nonsensical guidance that harmed our one and only hospital. Thank you. Now, many politicians view their position as a sense of entitlement. There are politicians on our current council that are seeking their 5th term, 20 years in office. As mayor, I would propose a 3-term limit, 12 years, for public officials running in our town in any position, in a single position with our town. Because if a politician can't achieve their vision in 12 years, their vision isn't clear enough, and they need to move on. So. Our regional government is too large. As Peter Nolan mentioned, I agree with him completely. I'm backing him 100%. As mayor, I would propose reducing the number of regional councils from 31 to 13. This would result in an over $1 million a year savings to taxpayers. But more importantly, what will that do? It will also change the culture. Rather than government reflexively increasing the size of the budget year over year by 2%, 3%, regardless of the economy, regardless of how big government is already, we need to change that culture. We need politicians who are willing to say, no, we need to make government smaller, because as government gets bigger, the citizen gets smaller. We need to empower the citizen. Government hasn't been empowered enough. Now, in terms of that same geographical area where we have 31 regional council, so that same geographical area, only has 4 MPs. So we need to start encouraging hope over despair, courage over fear, and real security over the veneer of safety that our local governments have been perpetuating and promoting. And I just want to end by saying one thing, that the greatness of a person's character doesn't come from how much money they have, how much influence they yield, or how much education they have, but in how much one is willing to sacrifice for another. As your servant leader, I will stand to defend the rights and your human dignity of every individual in Fort Erie, promoting less government and lower taxes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I also want to give a shout out to all the candidates who came in and joined me. And we had the strategy from the beginning that we believed we can be a stronger force because we all agreed on a lot of the fundamental principles. Primarily, the one fundamental principle is the government overreach that has been happening. All of us agree on that. So we're all willing to stand behind the statement that if elected, we will not support the use of bylaw officers to violate the rights of our citizens. Those people are, I'm going to mention their names again. I know we've all heard from them, but Ward 1, John Mollicone, thank you for standing up. Fred Reimer for Ward 4. Becky Jenny for Ward 3, Kristen Halfpenny for Ward 6, which is Stevensville, Peter Nolan for Regional Council, Susan Jovanovic for Public School Trustee, John Eaton Turner for Catholic School Trustee, and I thank all these people who are willing to stand up. Did I forget someone? And Rob Smith for Ward 1. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, save the best to last. That's why I did that. Thank you, Rob. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for all those people. And thank you for coming tonight as well. And I'm just going to hand it back to Christine for the final words.
All right. Again, thank